All right, ladies and gents, I am getting back in the habit of doing this. All of my materials are, again, trash, basically. Just old used house paints and stuff like that, mixed with a large amount of Floetrol. And then if you see how thin of a line it gets down to? That's the consistency you want with your pours. And that's what a lot of people have issue with, is their stuff is just not the right consistency. You see how it flows like an oil or something? That's what you're going for. And then in my case, I only actually put the oil in that first one, because I have found it doesn't need to be in all of the colors. It only needs to be in one or two of the colors. So like I put in red first. Red is going to be the dominant color in this thing. And then I'm going to have a little bit of blue sneaking through. And I'm actually really bad with gauging how much I need. It's been about half a cup with these things, but I'm going to go a little heavy because I'm trying to do a weirder thing. And I see that blue sinking through. Not a huge fan of that. You are supposed to consider how heavy they are when you do this, but I've never actually bothered doing that. It hasn't really hurt me yet. And then a little bit of black, which for me always just plummets right through to the bottom of anything I'm doing. And not too much of that either, because that'll overwhelm everything. Okay. And I'm watching for a second to see what it's doing. I'm going to give that a little bit of a swirl. Yeah, and you see how there's already cells forming in the cup? That lets you know that there's going to be cells in the final piece. Otherwise, let me reverse that spin so it comes out in the order. And I'm going to do a tree ring pour on this one, which basically means just that. You want to try and keep a steady stream. And then in my case, I am just trying to keep that pool roughly in the middle of the piece. So I'm not going to have to stretch it to the corners too much. And you can tell I stirred this a little bit too much because it's coming out all over the place. If I hadn't stirred it very much, then you would have seen and then I torch before and after I spread it. And then so the issue I always have with tree ring pours is no matter what I do, that initial gorgeous ring thing just falls apart when you go to stretch it. I do not know why. I mean, obviously I could use so much paint that I don't have to stretch it. That would be a solution, right? In fact, I'm going to brush that a little bit. Just because I don't want to deal with losing that much of this. I can already tell I don't really have that much of this to play with. I'll just stretch it out a little bit. That way it only has to get close, and it should be good. Okay, I'm going to call that good. And then I nice and slowly reverse that, and you can see the middle of my piece is all the way over here now. That's how much paint I wasted. And if you don't stretch it back nice and slow, you can see those rings are already kind of gone. Right? The head of my paint is so far down there that I don't think I'm going to like what this comes out as. Also, where did all that black go? Did that pour right off? I mean, it kind of must have, right? Yeah, I'm sorry this takes so long, folks. But again, if you rush it, it will look terrible. Every time. You lose all these cells, you lose all these rings, you lose everything if you go fast. And on this side, I can kind of make it flow a little better. But that's about all I'm getting. I'm still going to lose. And that's it for this one. And I mean, you can really see. I mean, that initial tree ring that started out there and went there and just, it's completely gone. If you actually want that look, you absolutely cannot do it without either wasting an immense amount of paint, or if I didn't have those corners to get into, I could have gotten a lot further. So again, I pretty much always recommend using a circular blank for these. I mean, the paint spreads out in a circle, so it's pretty obvious that's the shape you should be going if you're not trying to waste a huge amount of paint. But hey, I think it turned out pretty well, right? Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.